The next movie in our list, The Accountant with Ben Affleck.
映画に行きたい気分です。楽しみにしています。
Wow, what a fantastic movie this was. I very, very much enjoyed this. It's a story about a boy. You watch him grow up throughout the film, not all at once, but as the film progresses, you see why he behaves the way he does. This kid has autism, so because of that he's single-minded. He can do one thing very, very well, and in his case it's numbers. He can play with numbers and use numbers and come up with solutions almost instantly. For example, a year full of books, this accountant job that he gets, he can go through one book, he can go through a year of books in one night, whereas it takes one book for this girl to do takes about 3 months or so, or a month. But he can do the whole thing one night. Now, the problem with being autistic is he has to complete what he does, or he can't satisfy himself. It just plays over and over and over in his mind, to the point where he has to have strobe lights, loud music, and hurt himself physically so that his brain will concentrate on the pain and the agony, and then he can stop thinking about the thing that he could not accomplish or could not finish. And you see that in this movie as well, with the roller pin against the leg. Now what happens is, he has a psychotic army sergeant father who trains him, and his brother. He figures to get him over his autism, I know, I'll just train him to be a super soldier. So he takes him and his brother, and he lines up and pays for all these different soldier activities, snipering, fighting, knife fighting, whatever it takes to try and knock the autism out of his son. It just doesn't work. He just doesn't understand why this kid has autism, but this is not as a disadvantage for him except for being sociable with other people, but gives him a clear advantage in being highly skilled, which a lot of autistic people are. They can do the most incredible things. They just can't associate with other human beings because they just can't grasp social ability. And so he gets a job eventually because he's so good at what he does, and he's unjudgmental, that criminal organizations, terrorist organizations start to hire him. So he hides the funds from them and filters it through other avenues. Eventually the police discover there's somebody up to no good here, and they want to find him, they want to put him in jail, they want to stop him from helping out all these criminal organizations and terrorist organizations. So I think he was a director of intelligence or the FBI, I can't remember, I think it was the FBI. This guy's retiring and he wants to stop the accountant from progressing. So he just still doesn't know who he is. So there's this running story about this guy about to retire trying to catch this guy, and using a woman to do so, who the woman is a little bit, she shouldn't really be getting into police work because she's actually has a criminal past, but she has a passion for police work. So he uses this criminal past to bribe her into doing this assignment that nobody else would take, or that he could even trust with, or bribe people with. So the accountant has a personal code that if you break his personal code, he will come after you and kill you, which he does because he learns while he is in prison for another activity for a short brief while, because he breaks himself out. The accountant gets trained and makes friends with this other accountant who works for mobsters, when this guy gets out of prison, the mobsters kill him, so the Ben Affleck character goes and kills those mobsters and does it very quickly and efficiently thanks to his father's training. I especially like the way this guy handled his sniping, his gun firing. He was deadly accurate with this rifle. You see the criminals trying to catch the accountant, and they're threatening the couple that he has his farm that he goes to practice his firing, and the bad guys show up and they capture the farmer and his wife. And the accountant's outside somewhere, nobody knows where. All they know is somebody shooting through the house, through the windows, through the door, and being deadly accurate and blowing the heads off of the criminals one at a time, to the point where you see the criminals, they don't know what to do, they don't know what to think. They actually start to panic and they get scared and they just fall apart. Now, I love that scene where that was happening, and eventually it was just so well shot, so well written, so well put together. It was a masterpiece of cinema just for that scene alone. He finds out later that the guy that was trying to capture him and kill him turns out to be his brother. His brother and his team, and the two of them really didn't know that they were after each other until the end of the movie, and then they get back together and they help each other out. The movie is about a man who runs a company, and he's siphoning money off from the company at the beginning, but not spending it on anything. He's just hoarding this money, so that years later he starts injecting the money back into the company so that he can falsify records and that the company's making profits that it's not making, and thereby increase the level of worth that this company would be on the stock market. But unfortunately for him, his female accountant that he hired, that the accountant falls in love with, discovers that there's something wrong with the books, because in the past they were losing money and now they're gaining money, but where's it coming from? So they hire this Ben Affleck character to look at the books, and the owner of the company somehow manages to get his best friend, blamed for this, and the best friend is forced to commit suicide. He hasn't done anything, but he's forced to commit suicide to cover up the incident, and then the accountant's told, well, he's dead, it's his fault, I forgive him, he was my best friend anyway, now you can take off and leave. It's the problem solved. The accountant can't do that because he's autistic. He has to finish doing the books. So it drives him nuts, and you see where he tortures himself to get the books off his mind because he has to finish, and he can't finish. So you see the rolling pin against the leg, and it's just horrendously painful even to watch that part. It was so well shot and so well choreographed. But the accountant finds out that he finally puts the pieces together, and he realizes that the best friend was a patsy, and that the owner of the company, his secretary, are in on the scheme to make the company large profits. I should say the second in command of the company. And they get killed off one after the other, and then they go for the personal accountant, that girl I told you about. And the accountant, who's fallen in love with her at this time, he tries to intervene to save her life, and the story progresses. And a happy ending for both of them, I guess. Except for the accountant, he has to move on. He keeps all his weapons in this one trailer on, I think it's on trailer's kept on an air base somewhere. He rents land to put the trailer on. It's got all his weapons, and he goes there to think and be alone and assess and make assessments. This is an excellent movie. This will hold your attention, but don't watch it if you're tired, because you'll miss the storyline. You won't know what's going on. And I mentioned the storyline here, how it works, but everybody I talk to miss the storyline. We're not paying attention enough. You need to be, if you're a thinker, you're going to love this movie, because it requires thinking about the plot. The Accountant, excellent film, excellent action movie.